Mother Earth will keep careful watch over her sons in space. Indeed, wherever the Vostok 3 may be in orbit, it will be under the unfailing observation of good friends who have at their fingertips all the means for keeping watch over and controlling the spaceship. At the station, everything is ready. The videotape recorders are ready to take pictures of everything in space. The route is plotted once again on the moving map. Also ready are the control desk, the electronic globe, and the telephones at the coordinating computing center. Finally, the morning of August the 11th arrives. This is the beginning of a new day of the space age. How simple everything is. The usual daily dozen. And as always, all together, all good friends and comrades. Fitting preparations must be made. The rendezvous with the stars, one must be well shaved and wear a neatly knotted tie. He doesn't seem to be in any hurry. Perhaps Andrian is not so anxious to say goodbye to Mother Earth. Of course not. He is just as imperturbable as ever. However, the hour that will go down in the annals of history has struck. He dons his spacesuit where Yuri Gagarin and Gagarin and Titov put theirs on before they went up, and where he himself put on his spacesuit before when he was Titov's backup pilot. There is nothing unusual now in putting on the spacesuit. This is just an ordinary job, however, one that needs particular accuracy and dexterity. So he begins to accomplish his great exploit. And now the spaceman, in all his accoutrements, makes his last few steps on the ground. Though everything is so amazingly simple, this is indeed the beginning of a fairy tale. There he boards the bus, takes his seat, and off the bus goes to the cosmodrome. Around him are his friends. And though this is not the first time they are seeing off an astronaut, they still cannot get over their anxiety. Our hero goes off to bring humanity the light and knowledge of the universe. And now time itself seems to whisper, bid farewell. So long, says Popovich, as he gives Nikolayev a hearty hug. Remember, I'll be waiting for you, Nikolayev retorts with a grin. Up there, we shall all be with you, Titov says as he embraces Nikolayev. Meanwhile, astronaut B stays behind. He won't have to take Nikolayev's place. Andrian is cheerful and brimming with energy and resolve. The Cosmodrome is today the hub of the Soviet space science and industry. And the simple ceremony of sending off Earthmen into space has become quite the custom. The astronaut is stepping out into a world of formidable peril. He is about to do his duty as befits a real man. Mankind's future is linked up with the breakthrough into outer space. Falcon speaking. I'm feeling fine. Ready for the start. I hear you, Falcon, replies Gagarin. Starting signal is ready. Let's go. Stop. It was at 11:30 a.m. on August 11th, 1962, that the spaceship Vostok 3 orbited. Back on Earth, scientists received the first information about the state of the astronaut and his ship. This is Vostok 3 calling. Dear comrades and friends, everything on board is okay. All the systems are functioning well. I'm feeling fine. Electronic computers reckon the actual orbit. The ship aligned with hair split accuracy. The electronic globe shows where the Vostok 3 is at the moment. It is quite likely that Nikolayev's ship is flying like this at the moment. But why quite likely? One needs only look at the TV screen. Hello, Andrian. Greetings to you in space. The Earth rejoices. In Britain, as in many other places in the world, special issues of newspapers are published. The press, the radio and television report the great event. Red Major in space. His name is Nikolayev. Millions see this unusual TV transmission direct from space. Andrian and his ship seem to have entered every home. Everywhere, people are delighted and proud. Premiere Khrushchev talks with Nikolayev by phone from Yalta. This is the commander of the spaceship Vostok 3, the Soviet astronaut Nikolayev. I'm feeling fine. All the systems are functioning excellently. I hear you well, Comrade Nikolayev. I am glad that you are feeling fine and that the equipment is functioning without a hitch. I greet you and am proud to see that you have shown such courage in undertaking this historic flight. The Earth sees the astronaut, and from a height never reached before, the astronaut sees the Earth. Is not this a grand triumph of human genius? It is almost 24 hours now that Nikolayev is up in space. He has carried out an extensive program of scientific observation. Everything is proceeding well. I'm feeling fine. I slept well. He has already covered 700,000 kilometers. Meanwhile, Popovich sets off for the launching pad. Well, folks, he exclaims, let's have a song. I'm simply dying for a song.
Движется и не движется, вся из лунного серебра, песня слышится и не слышится.
One more spaceship, the Vostok 4, is to set out. Among the people who have come to see Popovich off is Academician Keldysh, president of the USSR Academy of Sciences. This is the beginning of a new chapter in astronautics. The problem is to learn whether several ships will be able to establish contact out in space, and also whether the two astronauts will withstand weightlessness equally well. Goodbye, Eagle. Vulcan awaits you. Here's wishing you every success. Sky, take off your hat, Mayakovsky once exclaimed. Yes, the sky must indeed take off its hat to the valor of the Soviet astronauts. One after another, intrepid Soviet men take off. It is 10:55. I'm feeling fine. I'm ready to take off. This is Dawn 1. You have come through well, Eagle. You are feeling fine and are ready to take off. With us, everything is also going fine. Everything is going according to plan. It's time. There he takes off. At 11:02 a.m. Moscow time, on August the 12th, 1962, the second Soviet spaceship, the Vostok 4, orbited. The two ships had the rendezvous on the dot and continued to fly on together on close parallel orbits. There they go, flying above this planet of ours, sending the nations of the world their greetings from space and their wishes of peace and happiness. And again the Earth is jubilant. At the world's greatest power station on the Volga, people listen to the news of the world's greatest event. This is Vulcan calling. I contacted Eagle at once as soon as he orbited. We greet you, dear Pavel Popovich. Now there are two of you up in space. A sensation, a new Russian sensation, radio announcers exclaim in all languages. Special issues come out in London, and the streets and squares are filled with news vendors' cries of the new sensation, 2 Reds in space, Soviets way ahead in space research, Soviet science scores spectacular achievements. The papers are full of the news. It is printed in all the languages of the world. Now Pavel Popovich also conducts observations in space. Everything's going fine. I can see a very lovely horizon, and further on a black sky. I see the Earth. It is still cloudy. I'm feeling fine. Everything's going fine. Over. Such are the routes of the Vostok 3 and the Vostok 4. The space twins are kept under unfailing observation by the well-organized pool of many telemetry stations. The amazing thing is that 2 people are talking between themselves up there, out in space, for the first time in history. On Mother Earth, the cradle of human life, every man has his own home. Andrei Nikolayev, son of a Chuvash peasant, lies now above his native Chuvashia, where he grew up and went to school, and where everything, the earth and the mighty Volga, is so dear to his heart. Meanwhile, Pavel Popovich, the son of a Ukrainian worker, is flying above his native Ukraine and its majestic expanses, and his eyes and heart are full of filial pride. He seems to see his home and his little daughter, and his wife Marina, who certainly knows how to wait. There they fly above Moscow, where people anxiously wait for more news from space. And everywhere, in the streets of Leningrad and villages, people cock an attentive ear to the voices from the cosmos. And as they listen, they take new pledges in honor of this new glorious deed. Ural's steelmen promise to turn out more metal. Elsewhere, pledges are taken to produce more electricity, more machinery. And out in the fields, the farmers make their contribution, taking in a bumper harvest. His name is also Popovich. This Rostov machinery operator considers it a great day for himself. He is trying to prove by his work that every Popovich is descended from that epic hero, Alyosha Popovich. Meanwhile, on the 2 fly, and the whole world watches. At the Astrophysical Observatory in Tokyo, as at observatories all over the world for that matter, astronomers maintain a round-the-clock vigil. The program of the first group flight incorporated the photographing by the astronauts of themselves in their cabins. This is what weightlessness is like. Watch him in this state of weightlessness. See him drink and eat. Conduct scientific observation. Talk by radio with the Earth and with his space twin. Unbuckling himself, the astronaut attempts to float in this state of weightlessness. As I look at Mother Earth, I cannot get my fill, Popovich entered in his diary. And my heart fills with a fervent desire to save this planet of ours from an atomic death. Soon they will return home. Nikolayev has flown already more than 2.5 million kilometers. Popovich, meanwhile, has covered some 2 million kilometers. I'm feeling fine, and I'm ready to make the descent. I'm very happy that everything's going well with you. I suggest you do some exercises to limber up. And indeed, after the protracted state of weightlessness, one must prepare oneself for overloads again. Meanwhile, Mother Earth prepares to meet the space hero. At the Coordinating Computing Center, scientists embark upon strenuous preparations for a thing that has never been done before, the simultaneous landing of 2 spaceships. The ships are to land near Karaganda in Kazakhstan. The ships descend. Like meteors, they dive into the denser layers of the atmosphere. A tornado of fire roars outside the portholes. Goodbye, Cosmos. The astronauts catapult out. They parachute down. Mother Earth welcomes back its son. Home again. The astronaut has already radioed his bearings. The ground here is rocky and desolate and covered with bitter wormwood. Nevertheless, how fine it is to be back on solid ground again. There he is. His friends and comrades run up. Everybody wants to know how he feels. And of course, autographs are demanded. These hastily written lines will certainly be a precious relic. How pleasant it is to take a few steps and inhale the air of the state. They greet you, Earth people, and jubilant, the Earth people greet the astronauts. From now on, space seems still nearer. They meet in Karaganda, just as they had promised before they took off. Popovich has already had a shave, but Nikolayev seems to regret parting with his beard. After all, it is also a souvenir of space. They went up for the sake of the people of the Earth, for the sake of their present and future, and the Earth people eagerly hang on their lips. You're wanted on the telephone. Is that Comrade Nikolayev? Can you hear me? I'm very glad and proud. I greet you and express my admiration. I really do not know what other words I could use to express my feelings. Thank you very much, Nikita Sergeyevich. I greet you, Comrade Popovich. I'm glad to hear such a cheerful voice, and also your declaration that you are feeling fine and are prepared to carry out any assignment that the government may give you. I congratulate you and wish you the best of health. Thank you very much, Nikita Sergeyevich. After all these experiences, the astronauts think they might take a nap. But they are too excited to sleep long. Popovich is brimming with impressions and seeks to chat without end with his friend about space and the moon, about life in the state of weightlessness, and about the future. Then they also want to know about all that had happened on Earth when they were up in space. Lenin lives in their hearts. They had his picture with him up in space. Crowds line the Volga banks to welcome the heroes of the space age. space twins are in Zhiguli on the Volga. The world is anxious for news, and here they give their first press conference. The group flight, which lasted several days, has shown that man can live and work in space for a long time. In 95 hours, Nikolayev circled the Earth 64 times, while in the 71 hours he was up in space, Popovich made 48 circuits. The doctors have completed their examinations, and now the two spacemen will fly to Moscow by different planes. For the time being, they pass. Until we meet again, and again, up they go. The space menu was good, but the ordinary Earth dinner is much more appetizing. They take over the joystick. They are so eager to fly that they are prepared even now to take off for the stars again. Moscow awaits them. The Vnukovo has become the gateway to the grand welcomes given to the heroes from space. Nikita Khrushchev has interrupted his holiday and has flown back from down south. Here they come. With a fighter escort of honor, the plane circles above the Soviet capital in greeting. The last few seconds are full of suspense. There lies the red carpet of the astronaut. First we said it was Yuri Gagarin. Next came German Titov. Now there are two of them at once, Andrei Nikolayev and Pavel Popovich. The astronauts tell Nikita Khrushchev that the assignment given them by the government has been carried out. They are ready to fulfill their country's every command. What a great and happy day. This is the third time Moscow is welcoming back the victors of space. This is the third time jubilant crowds fill Lenin Avenue, that avenue of glory. Today, they are the darlings of everyone, the idols of all. Only recently they were here when they bid farewell to Moscow. Andrei Nikolayev speaks.
Дорогие друзья, разрешите мне
Dear friends, Allow me to express most heartfelt gratitude to the Central Committee of the Communist Party, the Soviet government, and to Nikita Khrushchev for having bred and trained the great friendly family of Soviet astronauts, those loyal sons of our multinational motherland. Pavel Popovich speaks. It was my good fortune with Andrian Nikolayev to continue the course begun last year by my friends Yuri Gagarin and German Titov. But I must frankly confess that we had it much easier than the first Soviet astronauts. They each went up into space by themselves. We went up together. And when you know you have a friend at your elbow, the feeling is quite different. Nikita Khrushchev made a long speech in which he said in part, "The Soviet space heroes are men from the depths of the people, men infinitely devoted to the cause of communism." It is very noteworthy that among the space brothers we see represented today the various nationalities of our country, Russian, Ukrainian, and Chuvash. We are sure that in the future the family of astronauts will be joined by more sons and daughters of the peoples of our multinational state. The people glorify the space heroes and the scientists, designers, engineers, and workers who created the spaceship. How logical it is and natural for cosmic conquest to be celebrated here on Red Square, where every year the Soviet people mark the birthday of the world's first socialist state, a land which is today the great launching pad for Soviet spaceships. Step by step, Soviet science is breaking through into the universe for the sake of peace and human welfare. From Red Square, the heroes go to a reception at the Kremlin. Here, the Heavenly Brothers received the gold stars of Hero of the Soviet Union. Nikita Khrushchev is the best friend of the astronauts. They look upon him as their space father. He has done so much for astronautics. He has reared a fine family of intrepid spacemen who are prepared to carry out any assignment their country may command them to fulfill. And there involuntarily come to mind Khrushchev's words, "We are sure that in the future, the family of astronauts will be joined by more sons and daughters of our multinational state."